Welcome back to the Anime Association. I am your host, Kyle 10 times 10, and nothing happened, Addict. Over and over and over. Nothing happened. And not only that, but apparently they just want to steal my man's wife. The hell, man? Like,
Everyone's crushing on Ginny.
yeah, like, come on, man. Like, and then, like, they literally stole her. Like, how do you steal a human being? What
Yeah,
the hell?
I'm trying to figure out who did it.
Do you have any guesses on it?
I I was kind of thinking maybe someone from the world government, but like other than that, I don't even know.
Yeah, that kind of came completely left field for real. Especially since oh yeah, it's been like some years since I've seen Kuma, and then all of a sudden you get the call she's been taken, and it's like it had to have been somebody strong to sneak up on them.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and like someone with a motive, like the reason, like why would they want to take her?
Yeah. Uh, Before we dive deep into the whole episode, though, what did you think of it overall?
Okay, so I guess beforehand I was like expecting like this is supposed to be like the happy episode out of all these, but there was still some like messed up shit in it, and I'm like, I'm like, it's not fully happy. Like, I guess I was led, I was misled by the whole thing. Like, this is supposed to be like a full happy episode and things like that, but it's like, no, there's still some like messed up stuff happening. So, Oda's like really like tugging on my heartstrings and shit. Like, I don't even know, man.
Yeah, man. Like you would think it's just gonna be some happy, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay, he just taking, and then you realize he has to absorb all the pain. He has to take all the pain. Like yo, and this is what he gave to Zoro on Thriller Bark with the nothing happened moment. He gave it to he did the and he's doing that on a weekly basis, man.
Yeah, and the fact that like Jenny the reason she was telling everybody, "No, like, you need to stop," because of that reason, and, like, you could see, like, she was outside of the church, like, crying because she knew what he was about to do because he's been doing it over and over again on a regular basis. But I'm assuming the only way he's able to survive is because of how big he is, because I don't think anybody that would be any smaller would be able to handle that much pain all at once, especially, like, with how much internal damage that does, especially, like, all the blood coming out as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was straight throwing up blood. Uh, I I think it might have something to do with the giant blood in him that allows him to take so much pain. I wonder, but I also wonder if it's like one of them things where he kind of thinks it's because he's like I'm not gonna say a prophet, but like a worshiper of Nika type of thing. Like Nika gives him the power to do that. I wouldn't be surprised if that is kind of his personal mindset to it. And Jenny, of course, doesn't believe that because Jenny seems more of like a, and I'm not going to say like atheist, but just like the shit that she goes through. It seems like she wouldn't believe that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? At least from her attitude itself. I could be wrong, but that's kind of the way I pick up on it. How did you feel about him completely telling Jenny like, no, you're not going to be my wife?
Okay, so like for the first 5 seconds, I was like, "Why?" But then he, was flooding all of his memories of like, what happened with his parents and everything. So he doesn't want to create something that also has Buccaneer blood in it. So that when that was explained, I could kind of understand.
The
But at the same
fear.
time, it's like, huh?
I said the fear of it all.
Yeah, yeah, the fear of it all. So it's like I can kind of understand, but at the same time, it's like, well, we know what eventually happens. So like we know that it does happen. So the fact that I do know makes all of that clear. But just overall, like it was I don't even know the word. Maybe like perplexing or something like at first, but then once I realized the reasoning, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I feel the same way when it's like, hold up, why are you telling her no? And then you start seeing like the imagery start flooding through his head and everything, and it makes me wonder: do you think Ginny has the gist of that, or you think he's keeping that kind of to himself? Because it seems like he's more of the type to hold. pain in so other people don't feel the pain?
Yeah, I feel like kind of both because I would think that she knows he has it in him, the Buccaneer blood, because of Ivankov knowing. But the reasoning of like maybe because he hasn't explained to her the reasoning of like why he's saying no, she doesn't quite understand that.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a mix of both.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of how I was feeling with it as well, and I think that's kind of why Jenny. Oh, obviously they love each other. Like that's as easy to see. But I think she also wants to do like marry him and start a family with him to take some of that burden off of him, type of thing. But also since you brought up Ivankov, we see that Kuma actually admires Dragon. Like he actually admires him, and then we get a little bit more from Dragon. And even though we know that Dragon is Garp's son, we didn't know for real if he was in the Marines or not, but we found out he was a Marine and just couldn't find justice. Did you feel like that was a big revelation or just like a well, yeah, no duh, he was a Marine.
Yeah, it was a surprise, but at the same time, it's like if you look at his character and the way that he like fights for what he believes in, you could tell that like he had a background like that. But I think like the aspiration that Kuma has for him is because of the fact of what Kuma went through and with slavery and everything. And so Dragon is like fighting against that with the freedom fighters who eventually become the Revolutionary Army. So I think just like everything that he went through was what allowed him to look up to Dragon and realize like I want to be like him.
Okay. Yeah, nah, that makes a lot of sense. And then before he what did you think about Kuma raiding the castle? Like that whole scene there cuz we thought everything was kind of copacetic and then all of a sudden he just bounces himself to the castle and he just completely loses his shit. What did you think about that whole scene right there?
Yeah, I love that scene, and, like, beforehand, I was literally saying, like, if I swear if something happens to the old people, and then it comes to find out, like, the old people were being freaking chained up and, uh, they wanted to turn them into slaves and stuff. But, yeah, Kuma showing up and everything was really cool. I was really glad that he, like, stood up for his beliefs and, like, he didn't wanna see other people go through what he went through, so he basically stood up for them when they couldn't, and I think that's just another layer to him taking on the pain because like they were old obviously, so like they couldn't do anything, they couldn't defend themselves, and he rescues them in order to take away their pain of what they're going through.
Okay. Yeah. Nah, I totally agree with that, man. It seems like Kuma just can't catch a break at all. But the one thing I do really like about that castle scene was it mirrors Pangea with him doing pretty much a precursor to Ursa Shock is what I can only the big bubble he makes and then it just explodes and everything. That's pretty much what he did and that was like when he raided uh Pangea Castle. I think that was when it came back, right? He raided the castle and everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he had just left the island to go there before they took the break.
Okay. Yeah, and then it came back with him facing off against Sakazuki and stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Was there anything that stood out to you in this episode?
Hmm. I guess the fact of like Ivankov and Dragon actually rescuing them and, like,
Uh-huh.
finding where they were. I guess the news of, I forget his name, but the king, like, wanting to segregate the South from the North was something that sparked the freedom fighters' interest in order to actually go there and, like, stop him. So that was when they actually found Kuma and all them in the prison cell. Um, Other than that, I don't think there was really anything anything else.
Yeah, I think with the dragon situation, I think it was one of them things where because obviously Ivankov had been talking about Kuma and presumably Jenny, but obviously Kuma is the one that they're going to want to go for because of he's a tank, right? Uh, and he has a very special bloodline. but I think those two situations might have coincided together to the point where they wanted to pick up Kuma, and then there was this situation that happened where he what the king wanted to kill everybody in the South or turn the South into its own nation or something like that, right? Like, isn't that what he?
Yeah,
So then he
yeah,
had
so
to pay less tribute or something.
yeah, he basically wanted to divide them because they were slaves, and he wanted nothing to do with slaves, so he was like, "We're just gonna divide the North from the South, and they're not even gonna be part of our nation."
Okay, okay, yeah. Now that yeah, and then I'm not a fun of just a fun fact about the design choice and name scheme of certain things with the revolutionaries and stuff is his I can't think of the exact name off the top of my head, but Dragon's ship is actually named after the same. It's named after Fidel Castro's ship, something Grandma, and the Freedom Fighter costume is also based off of. I don't think that's a Fidel Castro one, but it is like some revolutionary. I can't think of the name. I wish I would have looked it up beforehand. So y'all in the comments can just call me like stupid for not doing it first beforehand. But I think that that's some pretty interesting fact when you look at the freedom fighter and then like all the connection to like famous revolutionaries. Um, do you have any predictions for what's going to happen with Ginny next week?
Mm.
Do you think Kuma is going to feel some type of way towards Dragon?
Like, what do you mean?
Uh Wasn't didn't Dragon tell him not to do something at the end of the episode or something?
Like, to not, go after her?
Yeah, isn't that was something that Dragon had said at the end of the episode?
Dang, I kinda forget.
I hope I didn't. I'm pretty sure I heard him say something like that at the end of the episode. Like when all of it was going on, like you can't go after her right now or something like that. I might be mistaken, but
Hmm.
do you think he's gonna blame Dragon for anything, or you think he just looks up to Dragon too much for that?
Yeah, I don't think he'll blame Dragon. Um, I think the only thing he's gonna be thinking is Ginny and getting her back because of how much he loves her. So I from the preview, the episode for next week actually looks really good. Um, so yeah, I think it's just gonna be just a straight up like rescue mission, and then like they end up having Bonnie. So I think that's pretty much just how the episode's gonna go. Honestly,
I didn't even look at the preview. So what they show him holding Bonnie or something at the in the
so it
preview.
was basically like him like going there, and then they said something about him finding a surprise or whatever. So I was assuming that it had to do with Bonnie.
Oh, okay, okay. And I think that's the last episode of the flashback, right? I think next week is
Yep.
the last full episode at least.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's it's gonna be a pretty hard one, honestly. But then I'm not sure if we talked about it in a previous recording, but do you remember in Marineford when Ivankov had went to looked at Kuma and was like completely heartbroken that he didn't recognize him?
Yeah, I think so.
It's crazy how all that is coming back and making sense at this point in time. Like at least of why Ivankov took it so hard, like type of thing. Also, uh do you remember the nickname that they gave him?
Gave
His
who?
nick uh Kuma, his nickname.
I wanna say yeah, but I can't think of it.
It's something like the evil tyrant Bartholomew Kuma or something like
Mm.
that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
Of the Sorbet Kingdom. So I think they're going to show us a little something more about that as well, because that's the kingdom he just did something with you know, the king. That was the island he was on and went back to, and everything is the Sorbet Kingdom. So,
So it's
uh,
probably like a misinformation type of thing that spread throughout the world or something?
I mean, knowing the world government, it doesn't surprise me any if. they took advantage of this situation that happened to try and spread something against them, especially since they want Kuma dead pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, because isn't there already like a um, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I can't think of the word I was gonna say, but isn't there some like sort of agenda that so many people in the world already have against the Buccaneers to begin with? So they're just gonna add something more to make it seem like he really is the bad guy.
As far as I know, there actually is no like the Buccaneers are supposed to be extinct, like King's Race, the Lunarian and stuff. I'm pretty sure that they're supposed to be extinct, so I don't think anybody would know. But knowing the world government, it would be because Sorbet Kingdom is a part of the world government at this point in time. So I don't think it would be too hard to twist and turn because outside of for the most part, like you got to think we're looking at it from our perspective as the pirate, but for the most part, most of the world still believes in the world government's propaganda. So
Right.
if the world government's saying like, "Hey, we're the good guys here. Take some popcorn. We're the good guys here. Watch some sports. We're the good guys." Hey, this person punched me, but literally the whole time as he's saying I'm the good guy, he's shooting people. But then he gets punched, and everybody thinks that the person that punched the person shooting people is bad, type of thing. Like that's kind of how the world government operates. That's why everybody thought Gold Roger was evil.
Yeah, it basically anything that the world government says, the people believe.
Yeah, yeah, especially like the more like off the Grand Line islands, which is most of the world, the South Blues and stuff of that nature. Was there anything that we didn't get to in this discussion?
I think we covered just about everything.
I think so. I think so too. I'm not looking forward to the next week. I'll tell you that much, man. I just want my mans to be happy. That's all, man. I just want my mans to finally catch a W. That's all I want, man. He's like the most wholesome character, and we just keep on seeing him get beat down over and over. And he's the definition of that Smack Mouth song. I get knocked down, I get up again.
It's it's his faith that that keeps like driving him because like his belief in Nika and the fact that he will like save them, that's the thing that like keeps driving him in order to like stay strong even though everything he's been through should not make him that way.
Yeah, yeah, and that's I'm not too sure if you've seen too much of it. I know you probably don't deep dive too much into One Piece theories or like stuff like that, but uh, they compared Nika to Jesus pretty much. Like it's supposed to be like a there's supposed to be like a Jesus reference there or something like that with like Luffy and Nika and Joy Boy
Oh,
and
like the
stuff
Holy
like that.
Trinity type thing.
Yeah, something like that. Kind of like what we were talking about with Fire Force that one time.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like there's like a an allegory for Jesus tied in with Nika. But it wouldn't surprise me. I feel like there's probably like 20,000 myths tied up in Nika's backstory itself because apparently like it links. There's like apparently there's like links to a Caribbean deity, an Indian deity, and then like you have the Jesus connections, and then you probably have like some Chinese connections and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me any, but I do think Kuma's faith is what holds him on to being able to eat a pain bubble every week, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that
So
yeah.
yeah. Oh, but before we go, look, did you see Jenny's shirt? You seen the what Jenny's shirt said? How it said sister?
Yeah.
What was the first thing that came to your mind when you saw the shirt say sister?
Not necessarily the word, but where it was placed. I
Uh,
was like obviously she aged. So that
well,
was the
yeah, that's
only
a 21-year-old right there.
yeah, yeah, that's really the only thing I thought of. I didn't really think about, "Oh, what does sister mean?"
Nah, look. So my dumbass didn't even click in my head until this episode, right? when I first saw it, I was thinking like, oh, Kuma gave her the shirt sister because brother or sister type of thing. No, it's because she's the sister of the church.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I felt like such a dickhead in my head because I'm like, yo, why did it take me to see this animated to think sister nun church like that type of lineage instead of brother sister like
Yeah, yeah. Like it crossed my mind, but I was like, I didn't really give it much thought. I was just like,
yeah, you were more focused
yeah,
on something else. You were more focused on the fun bags. It's okay.
yeah, I guess so.
It's okay though, man. But I think we'll just wrap it up here. Did I ask you predictions? Yeah, I asked you predictions and
Yep,
stuff.
yep.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up here. I was your host, Kyle Tim times 10, and this was Anime
Animate.
Addict.
Yep.
And give us a follow. Go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and let us know down below everything I got wrong because I know that you want to, you fucking nerds. But that's okay. I accept it. Peace.